Hello everyone, Dirk here from MTGNostalgia, and it's time for another Fatpack opening. This time with Eldritch Moon, the new expansion to Shadows over Innistrad. Take on the darkness. Deepening horror sweeps over Innistrad. The alien Eldrazi Emrakul is now twisting the land and its inhabitants into unrecognizable new forms. You must take desperate measures and join forces with dark allies to defeat this threat before it's too late. It will contain all these goodies, among them 9 boosters. Let's see what awaits us. Because most of my cards are old, I need some new card stock to build some modern decks. Let's see if we can get some Eldrazi, although everybody hates Eldrazi. The packaging can be opened if I find the opening. You can put this on your bookshelf, so Liliana will watch over your books or your magic action figures. This is a small booklet explaining the lore of the set, explaining the new mechanics, the meld cards, and something about Emrakul, the resistance, Tamio, which is one of the 2 planeswalkers in this set. Liliana is the other one. Some story spotlights, card encyclopedia, and no, I think there should be some. There's no coolest cards anymore. There are some designers' picks. Emrakul, the Promised End. This is the only mythic I've gotten so far from this set. I've got this in another video. Liliana, the Black Planeswalker, Collective Defiance. I got that even in a foil as my pre-release promo. Lashweed Lurker, Ulrich of the Krallen Horde, and Ulrich Uncontested Alpha. Sorry, there's some language mangling because I'm German, and the CH would be pronounced Ulrich. This name would be pronounced Ulrich in German. The first legendary werewolf. Buna, the Fading Light. Gisela, the Broken Blade. These 2 can flip over and meld, and they can turn into Brizella, Voice of Nightmares. Yeah. These are the card boxes. I think I've found some use for them. I'm gonna put my dice in them. Oh, nice! I got the red die. This is the last of the Fatpacks also, because starting with Color Dash, there's gonna be bundles instead of Fatpacks. Don't know what they're gonna do. Maybe they're gonna leave out the cardboard boxes. We have a quick reference guide. This is a short rules overview. This is a land pack, and there's also 10 checklist cards in here. I'm not gonna open that because I don't need it. And let's get to the boosters. There's Liliana, there's lots of Liliana, there's Tamio, and let's start with him. I think that's Ulrich. Boon of Emrakul is an enchantment that can sort of serve as a creature removal because it gives +3, -3. Tattered Haunter is a spirit that can block only creatures with flying. I think I got that during my pre-release. It's quite good because it's a 2-drop with flying that can because there's not a lot of flying creatures anymore in Magic. Cultist Staff, it's an equipment which gives a creature +2/+2. Scarstack Supplicant, creature, you can discard cards and each player loses 2 life. Grapple with the past. Put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard, then you may return a creature or land card from your graveyard to your hand. Might be good for Delirium decks. Stanzia Innkeeper. There's not a lot of land destruction anymore in Magic, and this is pseudo land destruction because it blocks 1 land for 1 turn. Ironclad Slayer. I've never seen that one. It's a 3/2, and when it enters the battlefield, you may return target aura or equipment card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay. Turn aside. Counter target spell that targets a permanent you control. Oh, I actually pulled that one in my pre-release, and that was one of the reasons I chose to play blue, because I thought not many people would have counter spells or expect a counter spell. Alchemist's Greeting. It's a sorcery that deals 4 damage and has a madness cost of 2. Now to the uncommons, Shreds of Sanity. It's a sorcery for 3. Return up to 1 target instant card and up to 1 target sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Then discard a card. Exile Shreds of Sanity might work really well in a madness deck. Geist of the Archives. It's a 0/4 defender. At the beginning of your upkeep you can scry 1. That's quite cool. Markov Crusader. Vampire with a lifelink. And it has haste as long as you control another vampire. Nahiri's Wrath. Oh, that's a mythic. It's not super valuable, but it's worth a bit. As an additional cost to cast Nahiri's Wrath, you can discard X cards. And Nahiri's Wrath deals damage equal to the total converted mana cost of the discarded cards to each of up to X target creatures and or planeswalkers. It's a bit complicated, but it might be a finisher. Yeah, and maybe you can also then cast a madness spell with that. Ulvenwald Captive is our flip card. It's a werewolf. You can pay a lot, 7 mana to transform it. Turns into a 4/6 Eldrazi werewolf. That also gives you mana. I don't know. Yeah, but it might fuel your big Eldrazi titans. Planes and a spider token. Spider tokens are for the legendary spider Ishkana, the Graph Widow, I think she's called. That's a Liliana booster we have here. The Gatewatch is overrun. Take Inventory. That's a card that lets you draw cards, and the more take inventories you have in your graveyard, the more cards you draw. Tattered Haunter, we've seen that one. Borrowed Grace. It's an Escalate card, so you can have one mode, or you can pay the Escalate cost and choose the second mode also. Certain Death lets you destroy a creature, and its controller loses 2 life and you gain 2 life, although very expensive. Swift Spinner, 2/3 spider with flash and reach, of course. All spiders have reach, except for the Homelands one. Spectral Reserves, a sorcery that gives you 2/1/1 spirits, and you gain 2 life. Laboratory Brood is a zombie horror. When it enters the battlefield, you put the top 4 cards of your library into your graveyard, so it lets you fuels your graveyard. Prophetic Ravings, enchantment for 1, and the creature can now tap and discard a card to draw a card. Might work well in a madness deck. Lunarch Mantle. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has 1 mana. Sacrifice a permanent. This creature gains flying until end of turn. There's a lot of cards that profit from sacrifices. Blessed Alliance, the Escalate card, gaining 4 life, untapping up to 2 target creatures, or forcing target opponent to sacrifice an attacking creature. That's okay. Yeah, that's quite good actually. Liliana's Elite, a zombie, 1/1. It gets +1/+1 for each creature card in your graveyard. That's nice. Noose Constrictor. I think that's one of the most talked about uncommons before the set was released. It's a 2/2 reach, and you can discard a card to give it +1/+1 until end of turn. For a rare, Noose Graph Mob. A zombie for 6, enters the battlefield with 5 +1/+1 counters. When a player casts a spell, you can remove a +1/+1 counter and instead put a 2/2 black zombie on the battlefield. Curious Homunculus is our flip card, it's an uncommon. Gives you mana to only cast instants or sorceries. And the flipped version is Voracious Reader. He's lost his helmet. Nice artwork. Has 3/4 prowess, and instant sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. That's nice. Zombie token. Directly from a laboratory. Take another Liliana booster. Spring Sage Ritual. Green instant that lets you destroy target artifact or enchantment, and then you gain 4 life. Boon of Emrakul, we've seen them. Tattered Haunter. It of the Horrid Swarm. Eldrazi Insect for 8. Say 4/4, and you can emerge it, so you can sacrifice another creature. That will also reduce the emerge cost, and then you can cast it, and it gives you also 2 1/1 green insects when it enters the battlefield. Certain Death. Thermo Alchemist. Defender that can tap to deal 1 damage to each opponent, and you can untap it when you cast an instant or sorcery spell. That might be really popular in the future. Fiend Binder. Whenever it attacks, tap target creature defending player controls, and 3/2. It's okay. Contingency Plan. I drew one of those in my pre-release. It's really powerful because you can even if you don't put any cards in your graveyard because you need Delirium or so, you can still rearrange the top 5 cards of your deck and control your next 5 turns. Stanzia Innkeeper, Long Road Home. Exile target creature, and it returns with +1/+1. Courageous Outrider. 3/4 Human Scout. When a Courageous Outrider enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a human card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. That is quite cool. It's not that expensive also. Weaver of Lightning. I played with it in my pre-release because I had a lot of instants and lightning, instant sorceries. You can deal damage to creature when you cast an instant. Stormcork Occultist is our rare. It's a vampire horror. Has a 3-drop, 3/2, trample. Whenever Stormcork Occultist deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may play that card. Might be a bit risky, but yeah, madness cost of 2. Cryptolith Fragment is a flip card. Add 1 mana of each color to your mana pool, and each player loses 1 life. At the beginning of your upkeep, if each player has 10 or less life, transform Cryptolith Fragment. Turns into Aurora of Emrakul. A 1/4 flying Death Toucher. Whenever Aurora of Emrakul attacks, each opponent loses 3 life. Really nice in a multiplayer deck. And Tamiyo's Emblem. Let's open a Tamiyo booster. Got her emblem. Let's see if we can maybe pull the actual Planeswalker. Otherworldly Outburst, quite nice, can serve as creature removal and gives you a 3/2 colorless Eldrazi horror token if your creature dies. Brazen Wolves, 2/3 wolves that get +2/+0 if they attack. Prey upon target creature you control, fights target creature you don't control. Primal Druid, when he dies you may search your library for a land. Scholastic Supplicant, Prophetic Ravings. Thraben Standard Bearer, a 1-drop for 1/1. You can discard a card and put a token into play. Exultant Cultist, when he dies, or when she dies, you may draw a card. Borrowed Hostility, Escalate card. Target creature gets +3/+0, and target creature gains first strike. Oh, I also played with that in my pre-release. Prevent all damage that would be dealt by non-human sources. Repel the Abominable. Faith Unbroken. Aura gives enchanted creature +2/+2, and it also you can exile another creature until this leaves the battlefield. That can give you nice card advantage. Liliana's Elite again. Another Stormkirk Occultist. The Grizzled Angler is our flip card. Can turn into Grizzly Anglerfish. Yeah, the distribution of the boosters in the Fatpacks is quite different because they can come from several booster boxes, and you can get the same rare 2 times. Take inventory. Ingenious Scab. It's a zombie horror with prowess. You can pump it for +1/-1. Choking Restraints. That's creature removal. Primal Druid. Cemetery Recruitment. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. If it's a zombie card, draw a card. Steadfast Cathar. Whenever it attacks, it gets +0/+2 until end of turn. That's okay. Convolute. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 4. Make Mischief. I think I had 2 of those in my pre-release and I played with them. Deals 1 damage and you put a 1/1 Red Devil creature token into play. That can also ping for 1 when it dies. Terrarion. That's sort of mana fixing. Slayer's Cleaver. A crit creature gets +3/+1 and must be blocked by an Eldrazi if able. Tentacle Slayer. Scour the laboratory. I've forgotten which one is the English and which one is the American pronunciation. Draw 3 cards and it costs you 6, or if you have Delirium, it costs you 4. Foul Emissary. When he gets sacrificed to an Emerge card, you can put a 3/2 Eldrazi Horror into play, and also you can tutor in the top 4 cards of your library for another creature, so you can search for your Emerge creature. Summary Dismissal. One of my opponents had that during the pre-release. He countered my Westvale Abbey when I tried to transform it. Yeah, that was quite disappointing, although I won the game still. Graph Rats. It's a flip card. It's also a meld card. Zombie. How did your pre-releases go? Which awesome pulls did you get? Olivia's Dragoon, then another Vampire, Madness Enabler, can gain flying until end of turn. Woodcutter's Grit, it's an instant, gives the creature you control +3/+3 and lets it gain Hexproof until end of turn. Lets you save a creature a certain death. Stensia Banquet. Yeah, might put that in my vampire deck because it deals damage to an opponent equal to the number of vampires you control. Faithbearer Paladin. 3/4 Lifelinker, Enlightened Maniac. It comes with a 3/2 Eldrazi Horror. Ruthless Disposal. You must discard a card and sacrifice a creature, but you can give 2 creatures -13/-13 until end of turn, so it might also kill Emrakul, the Promised End. Target creature you control gets +1/+1 and it deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. Clear Shot. Creature removal for green. Vexing Scuttler. An Eldrazi Crab. Has an Emerge cost, and when you cast it, you may return an instant or sorcery from your graveyard to your hand. Impetuous Devils. Sort of a new Ball Lightning, but costs 1 more, but you can also choose 1 creature opponent controls to, you can force it to block them, so you can remove that creature. Graph Rats, another one. Mountain. Also, you might see this is the Shadows over Innistrad symbol because this is an expansion. Eldritch Moon is an expansion to Shadows over Innistrad and does not have its own basic lands. Spider Token. Oh, come on. No Planeswalker for me today. Might be because I'm too stupid to open these packs. Cultist Staff, Olivia's Dragoon, Desperate Sentry. When it dies, you get a 3/2 Eldrazi Horror. And It also can gets +3/+0 when you reach Delirium. Distemper of the Blood, Madness card, Certain Death, Swift Spinner, Iron White's Cleansing, exile target artifact or enchantment, Enlightened Maniac, Bold Impaler, I had 2 of those in my pre-release, Long Road Home, Vampire Cutthroat, Skulk and Lifelink for 1 mana, Rock Skull Shield Mate, 2/3 Flash Spirit Soldier. When it enters the battlefield, other creatures you control get +0/+1 until end of turn. Oh, Sigarda's 8. You may cast aura and equipment spells as though they had flash, and whenever an equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach it to target creature you control. That's very nice because it's also only 1 drop. Midnight Scavengers. Oh, that's actually the melt card that goes with the rats. You can see those. Chittering Host, Eldrazi Horror, 5/6, Haste, Menace. When it enters the battlefield, other creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain Menace until end of turn. And these 2. There are 3 different meld combinations in the set. They sort of were testing it out if players would like it. Spring Sage Ritual. Whispers of Emrakul. It's sort of the weaker Hymn to Turak. Noose Constrictor, Geist of the Archives, and a Worf Infiltrator straight from Star Trek. Human Horror, 1/1 with Skulk. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card, and if you do, you discard a card. When you discard a creature card, you may pay 2 colorless. If you do, put a 3/2 Eldrazi Horror into play. Smoldering Werewolf is a flip card. It's a Werewolf Horror. You can transform it with mana. Turns into an Eldrazi Werewolf, a 6/4. Whenever it attacks, it deals 2 damage to target creature or player. That can be quite disrupting. Oh, what's that? No token, just a Magic Duels tip card. Oh, on to our last booster. Oh, that wasn't the strongest Fatpack ever. I think we pulled 1 Mythic. No foil card up until now, and no rare flip card. Take inventory. That's a lesson because you should not buy boosters. You should buy singles. A Fury Blade Vampire is a Vampire Berserker, 1/2 with Trample, and if at the beginning of your combat you discard a card, it gets +3/+0 until end of turn. Foul Emissary, you've seen that one. Lashweed Lurker. It's an emerged creature, 5/4, and when you cast it, you may put target non-land permanent on top of its owner's library. Okay. Coax from the Blind Eternities. You may choose an Eldrazi card you own from outside the game or in exile, reveal that card and put it into your hand. Okay. Midnight Scavengers, another one of those. Oh, called it our first foil. It's an uncommon. When an opponent casts a spell, sacrifice Lunar Force and counter that spell. So it counters the next spell your opponent casts. And this zombie token is the last card we get from this pack. I hope you enjoyed this. If you like what I'm doing here, remember to like and subscribe. And when this channel reaches 1500 views, I'm gonna open a classic booster from the dark. And until then, see you next time.